Hello, dear students. Greetings of the day. I, Mohammad Zishan, welcome you to the online classes of Blooming Birds Code School, Sambal. Dear students, today we are going to study second chapter of civics, which is the executive. So, we have already studied about the organs of the government. I told you in last lecture about the legislature, organs of government. In last lecture, we studied about legislature, in which we studied about Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, which were the two houses of parliament. And as they were the two houses, so we called it bicameral parliament, right? We also studied one more component of the parliament, which was president. We studied that this organ was responsible for making rules or laws, making laws, right? And today we are going to study about the second organ of the government, which is executive. Executive. Third is judiciary, which we will study in next chapter. I'm writing here, okay, upside. Now, executive. So, the laws which are formed by this legislature, these laws are need to be implemented. Implemented, right? So, this organ is responsible for bringing these laws into force or to enforce or to implement, right? And this organ is also responsible for making policies, policies for development of country. It may be a policy, education policy, it may be health policy or agriculture policy, any policy, right? So this executive, the function of this executive is to execute or to implement or enforce the laws which are made by legislature. And other than that, its function is to make policies, right? To make policies and bring those policies into the force. Now, how those policies are brought into the force, how these policies and laws are implemented. So, for that, we are having a proper mechanism, and with the help of some designatories and various other officials, we bring all these things into force. So, in that series, we are having few officials. The first one is president. Second is vice president. Third is prime minister. Fourth is council of minister. So these many people are the temporary executive. Whereas other officers like IAS officer, IPS officers, and various other services and their officials right. These are permanent executive. Okay. Now, suppose if one policy was made for the laborers, right, and that policy was for Mazdoor or laborer, and it was MG Narega, one scheme for the employment of Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, MG Narega, right? Now, if this scheme or this act has been made by this parliament, by legislature, now it is supposed to be executed. So how it will be executed? President will give its assent, and this act will be issued in the name of president, right, executed in the name of president, and orders will be sent to entire country at the district level, right. Like suppose Sambal, right, so this order will reach Sambal also, and the DM of Sambal, right, who is IAS, right, he will be uh, executing this act, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Okay, he will be implementing with the help of various other officials like BDO, block development officer will provide work to the common people or villagers. They will ensure that okay, the people of villages are getting a guarantee of employment, and at least of 100 days employment, right. So they will make it sure, right, they will try their best to provide employment to the uh, rural employment to these laborers and mazdoors. Clear? So this is how one act or a scheme or a policy is being implemented with the help of these officials, right? As they are playing their role in the execution of this act or of this policy or scheme. Right? So that is why they are called executive. That is why they are called executive. So we are going to study about them in detail. Let me check the length of video. Okay. So in this chapter, we are going to study about president, about vice president, and about prime minister. We will be dealing with these three uh, people or these three persons of this or designatories of executive organ of Indian government, right? So I am erasing board now. Okay. So first we will study about the president of India. The president of India. So I request you to open your notes. So first is he is the constitutional and executive head. Okay. So the president is constitutional and executive head. All the orders are issued in the name of president, right? Then he is supreme commander of forces, supreme commander of forces, defense forces, or supreme commander of defense forces. These all things are written in your notebook. right? And he is also known by various names like nominal head, ceremonial head, golden zero, executive head, constitutional head. Why he is called nominal head or ceremonial head or golden zero? Because his powers are actually exercised by prime minister. He cannot take a decision uh, himself. Most of the time he has to take decision according to the will of council of ministers, which is headed by prime minister. So prime minister is actually the real head of our country, because he is also the person who is elected by the general assembly elections, right? Elections are conducted and various parties declare their prime ministerial candidate, and people of India vote those parties on the basis of that, on the face value of that prime ministerial candidate, right? And then one party wins or loses just because of the image of that candidate, the candidate for the prime ministership, right? So that is why the entire country is uh, putting their confidence in one person, right? So that is why that person enjoys the real power, the real strength in democracy, right? The real power in democracy. And the head of the country, which is written in our constitution, will be the president. That is why he is called constitutional head. But actually the power, the real power of president is the real power of president is exercised by prime minister. So prime minister is called the real head of the country. Then we are having, he is the first citizen of India. Yes, prime president is called the first citizen of India. Now what are the qualifications to be the president of India? So a person should be citizen of India. One person should be citizen of India, and then he should be 35 years old. And then another, he should have qualification to be the member of Lok Sabha. He should have qualification, all qualifications to be a member of Lok Sabha, right? And then he must not hold any office of profit. These four are the qualifications for president. Now next is election. So he is elected by an electoral college. So what is electoral college? Electoral college of president is equals to, is composed of elected members of parliament plus elected MLAs of states and two union territories. Okay, so we can write elected MPs. Now, when I am talking about MPs, so here I am talking about member of Lok Sabha also and member of Rajya Sabha also. 238 elected members of Rajya Sabha are there, right? And on 543 seats elections took place. So these all people are voters, okay, in elections of president, right? They along with MLA, right? Member of legislative assemblies, MLAs of states, right? Of states, UP, Uttarakhand, Kerala, Assam, okay? These all are states. So MLAs, elected MLAs, okay? Which MLAs? Elected one. Elected MLAs of states and plus elected MLAs of Delhi and Puducherry, right? These people, I have not written this in your notebook because I thought okay, it will be easier for you to understand, because MLAs are MLAs whether it is of state or any union territory, if that union territory is having a legislative assembly. So we are having two UTs, Puducherry and Delhi, where we are having legislative assemblies. Whereas in other union territories, no legislative assembly is there. Those union territories are governed by prime president directly. He appoints the commissioner there. Okay, so these many people, elected MPs and elected MLAs of state and elected MLAs of Delhi and Puducherry, they together cast their vote to elect a president. Okay, and together they are called electoral college. So I hope that you would have understood what is the meaning of electoral college. Then what are the powers and functions? So powers, there are some powers of president, some legislative powers are there, some financial powers are there, some emergency powers are there, some discretionary powers are there. Okay, so many types of powers are there of prime president. Okay, so the first power which we will study about is the legislative power. Okay, so legislative power. I- Okay. So first is he can summon and prorogue the parliament and dissolve Lok Sabha. So they are using two words. He can summon and prorogue. They can summon and prorogue. Prorogue. Okay. Now what is the meaning of summon and prorogue? See, it is written in your notebook. I have written in the notes that he can summon and prorogue parliament, right, and dissolve Lok Sabha. Now let us understand this. What is the meaning of summon? Summon means to call, right, and prorogue means to bring something to an end. Okay, for the time being, right? To end we can write in short, right? To call and to end. Prorogue means to call. Prorogue means to end. Summon means to call. So we have studied about the parliament. We have studied that it is having two houses, right? And two houses meets each other. Meets you can say the members of parliament. They meet together at least two times. Okay, or three times. So okay, forget that. You should know that there are three sessions of parliament. Okay, three sessions of parliament. The first one is which starts first, that is the budget session. Budget session. Then second is monsoon session, which is going on right now. Monsoon session. Then third is winter session. What are these sessions? In this, all the parliamentarians go to parliament and they deliberate over the issues. They discuss some bills. They discuss right some proposals to make laws, okay, and policies of the government, and carry out the functioning of governance, or you can say uh, right. So this is what this is called session, right? So who call this session? These sessions are called by president. Okay, president summon sessions. President will summon the session. Budget session, okay, now budget session will start, right, and monsoon session will start and winter session will start. Okay, so suppose if he is calling budget session on suppose he is calling budget session in Feb, on 5 or 5th of Feb, okay, right, 5th of Feb, right. So that is called summoning. He is summoning the houses, okay, summoning the parliament, right. And then if its functioning carried out, okay, till March, okay, suppose it carried out for 15th of March, right? And that was the last day, 15th of March or 15th of April, you can say, 15th of April, right? For 2 months it carried out. Okay, so this date, when he's saying कि now this session has come to an end, no parliamentarian need to come to parliament. Okay, right? You are not now you can leave the parliament, right? So that is called prorogue, right? So who decides that the parliamentarians should meet and their meeting should come to an end? It is decided by president. Okay, clear? So this is, then after that he can call a joint session of parliament. So joint session of parliament is a session of Lok Sabha, when Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha sit together. They sit together. So that is called joint session. Joint session, when all MPs of Rajya Sabha and MPs of Lok Sabha sit together and decide some matter. That is called joint session of parliament. So who can call joint session? President can call joint session. Then a bill needs his assent to become a law, right? So if a bill is passed by Lok Sabha and a bill is passed by Rajya Sabha, then it needs assent of president and then it becomes law. Assent of president and then it becomes law, right? So this was all about the legislative powers of president. Now we will study about the executive powers of president. What is the meaning of executive? I have already told you, to execute the laws and various policies, right? Okay, now all government orders are issued in whose name? In the name of president. I have already told you this thing. He appoints the prime minister. Who appoints prime minister? President appoints prime minister. Now you will say, okay, sir, you are saying a prime minister is elected through general elections. General elections, which are the elections of Lok Sabha. The party which gets majority of seats, that party uh, decide their leader, okay, leader of the party, and that is appointed as prime minister. Yes, right? So that person, the party which is getting maximum seats in Lok Sabha election, that party will form their government, and that and one person or one candidate from that party only will be appointed as prime minister, but he is appointed by president will uh, assist he will take oath under president only. Okay, prime minister. Then after that he appoints ministers, governors, chief justice of supreme and high courts, CAG is comptroller auditor general, comptroller auditor general, and solicitor general and attorney general and chief election commissioners and lieutenant governors of union territories. Okay, I have written these things in short form so you can remember the full forms. CAG full form is comptroller auditor general, SG is solicitor general, AG is attorney general, and CEC is chief election commissioner, lieutenant governors of union territories. These all are appointed by president only. Now we will study about the judicial powers. Judicial powers of uh, president. He has the power to pardon, commute, remit, respite, and reprieve the sentence of any convicted prisoner. Okay, so he can pardon a convicted person, right? And he can commute. He can change his penalty also, his punishment also, right? And he can give some respite to that person also, right? Then after that we are having financial powers. Just give me a second, please. Okay. So after that we are having financial powers. No money bill can be introduced. But before that, let me explain you this. We were studying what? We were studying the executive. First, we were studying about executive powers. Okay, no, sorry, judicial powers. Last we studied was the judicial powers. Okay, so I told you that okay, the president of India has the power to pardon, right? To pardon, and then I said to commute, and then I said remit, and then I said respite. Okay, uh, and then I said reprieve. So what does that mean? Pardon means to forgive a punish, to forgive someone. Okay, and then commute means substitute the current form of punishment with lighter form of substitute current form of punishment with lighter punishment. Okay, and then what is the meaning of remit? Remit means to reduce the period of sentence. The period of sentence, right? And then respite. What is the meaning of respite? Respite means to reduce the period of sentence due to some special reasons. Reduce the period of sentence due to special reasons. Okay. Reprieve means hold the execution of for a temporary period. Hold execution for temporary period. Now, in this, you must have studied about Nirbhaya case. Okay, in Nirbhaya, the accused were reprieved. Right, their execution was supposed they were supposed to be hanged on some day. Right, but they this brought reprieve plea from uh, president. Okay, and their execution was held for some time, right? And remit and respite means to reduce the period of sentence. Commute means substitute current form of punishment with lighter punishment. Suppose someone was given death penalty. Okay, so his death penalty will be changed with what? With lifetime imprisonment. Okay, pardon means to forgive someone. Like suppose I murdered someone and I was given lifetime imprisonment, right? And then president gave me pardon, so my crime was forgiven and I came out from the jail. Okay, so these are the meanings of the terms. You should remember. Okay, these are written in your book. Then after that, what we will study? First of all, let me check the length of video. How long it has been? 29 minutes. Okay, the next is financial powers. Okay, so in financial powers, no money bill, financial power. No money bill can be introduced in parliament without his prior assent. Okay, so to introduce a money bill, which we studied yesterday, we need what? Permission of president. Permission of president. Okay, no money bill can be introduced by his prior assent. Then he is required to get the annual budget. Annual budget is introduced in the parliament. Okay, so he makes this introduction of budget in parliament possible, right? Then after that we are having his emergency powers. So in emergency powers, he can impose emergency, right? The president can declare three kinds of emergency. First is national emergency, which is written in your notebook. Okay, no need to write here. National emergency, it can be imposed using Article 352 in case when a foreign country attack on India, okay, or there is an armed rebellion in India. Then after that, president rule. President rule is imposed by using Article 356, right? And it is imposed in a state where, in a state like UP, Uttarakhand, or anywhere, okay, right? Why it is imposed? Because of the failure of constitutional machinery. Failure of constitutional machinery. Now you will say, okay, what is the meaning of that, sir? Right. So means if government is not functioning according to the constitution in some state, then president can impose president rule, right? Using Article 356. When he will impose president rule, then what will happen? Then the central government will rule on that state. Suppose it is Rajasthan. In Rajasthan, Congress government is there. Okay, and if the president finds that there is a breaking of constitutional machinery, right, then he will impose president rule in Rajasthan using Article 356, and then BJP government, which is in the center, will start ruling in that state, right? So president himself cannot impose this emergency. Okay, he need permission of Council of Ministers, right? Council of Minister will suggest him to impose emergency in some state. Okay, then he will issue an order. Clear? Then after that, he is having financial emergency power also. He can declare financial emergency using Article 360 when financial stability is in danger. Then his discretionary powers are there. He can appoint the prime minister from among the contenders when no single party gets clear-cut majority after elections to Lok Sabha. Okay, so if in Lok Sabha no single party is getting clear-cut majority, then what will happen? Then he will see which group of parties or alliance of parties is having majority, right? And then he asks the leader of that group or alliance to form the government and appoints that leader as the prime minister. So this is this power of his judging, okay, who is having and who is not having, okay, using his mind, wisdom, okay, that is called discretionary power, okay, which, right? Then we are having his tenure. His tenure is of 5 years. Everybody knows that, okay. Tenure means term, for how many years he will work, okay. So that is 5 years. And then removal. How he is removed? He is removed by a process of impeachment, okay. The process of removing of president is called impeachment, okay. So by the process of impeachment on the grounds of treason, violation of constitution. So it was all about president. In next lecture we will study about the vice president. Thank you so much.